Come here, kids, and let Grandpa tell you a story. This story starts in 1914 with the death of the Austrian Herr Franz Ferdinand. He was shot and killed by a Serbian terrorist group, the Black Hand. You see, this gave Austria-Hungary an excuse to declare war on Serbia, and because of the complex alliances within the European powers, this started the Great War. In other words, it was the Ottoman Empire, Germany, and Austria-Hungary versus Great Britain, France, Italy, Russia, Japan, and later the U.S. and Greece, but we didn't join the war until 3 years later. We tried to remain neutral for as long as possible, but we would aid the Allies with money and weapons. So like I said, we remained neutral until 1917. You see, Grandpa was president at the time, and I've always held the American people's values as the highest priority. When I was first elected, I had no intention of joining the war. It was not the right thing for the American people. The war was in Europe. We could aid with supplies and not be harmed. When I was re-elected, I really had no intention of joining the war. But there was a string of events that not only changed my mind, but the American people's hearts. And like I said, I wanted to do what was best for America. The first thing that happened was January 31st, Germany announced to resume their unrestricted submarine warfare. That included ships also. Unrestricted meant it didn't matter where the ships came from, they were going down. After the sinking of the Lithuania in 1915, we managed to convince Germany to stop, but they resumed 2 years later. It was quite a nagging concern for me, so I requested to Congress that the merchant ships be armed. Less than a month later, Great Britain intercepted a telegram from the Central Powers, urging Mexico to declare war on the U.S. Britain gave the telegram to us, now known as the Zimmerman Telegram, and this was printed later in the newspapers. America was outraged. That's when I knew we really had to take action. My war cabinet unanimously voted in favor of declaring war, leading to my address to Congress. April 6th, we declared war on Germany. The next year was rather stressful, with Lenin arriving in Russia, the mutiny in France, and Greece joining the Allies. It was all ups and downs. And there was quite a scare that the war would move to U.S. territory, with the German U-boats already in American waters. That year, there were parts I remember so vividly it's like I'm living them again. In other parts, I have no memory of happening at all. But that's what war was like. I really hope you kids never have to go through that. August was the month when things really started to look up for us. The Germans were losing massive amounts of men, and more importantly, their spirits were draining. With the U.S. being so fresh into the war, and with the Allies having our support, our spirits were high. The feedback from the generals were as positive as they could be. It was wartime after all. We broke through the Hindenburg Line, severely weakening it. We were winning battles after battles. Near the 1st of October, the Central Powers really knew they were out of luck. They sent peace notes requesting armistice to us. That feeling was probably the best feeling I'd had since I'd been elected, but that was nothing compared to November 11th. November 11th, at the 11th hour, that was when the fighting stopped. End of the war. We only fought for a year, kids, but it was a rough year. But peace surrounded us once again.